with these words, I will invite our next speaker, Dr. Chitra Ramamurthy ma'am, she is going to speak on why leadership to us means what are the, first we know from the search talk that why, what is the qualities of the leadership and now why it is important for us. Chitra ma'am, please.
Very good morning to one and all of you and moderators on the dais. I think I should blank off this last 1 year, but when I see you all around here, it feels I'm still with all of you anyways. So let's give you all next 12 minutes, pushing so much energy into you all that you decide that you don't need this LDP, that all of you are leaders in yourself. So here we go. So when you look at it very simplistically, very altruistically, what is leadership? Essentially, unlike what we think, leadership is not about titles, it's not about positions, it's not about flow charts, it's about how one life is going to influence the other, and that is what is most important. Then next, you have a question coming up. Now, does it mean you have to have a particular virtue in you? You have to have a kind of a surging emotion in you, should be passionate about it, or is it a very difficult terrain? Yes, it is a difficult terrain. It could be tough, it could be deluding, it could be frustrating, it could be steeped in politics, and you may not be any of it. But then, do we just stay in some predestined slot in which you are already there? Is it that we don't seek some horizon for ourselves? And that is where the story of leadership starts. There was a young boy amidst us in our younger days, and we used to all run flying kites, and he used to be ahead of us. Somehow he used to sharpen those threads of the kite so much that his kite used to cut all our kites down. If his mother had known what kind of leadership she had and she had nurtured him, probably he would have become a leader in himself. This is another family where there is a mistress and a cook. And the mistress has all the family members coming and sharing their woes to her. And the cook has each and every one of them coming to her about their food and what they want. And somehow on the table, something of everything was there. Don't you think there was leadership in that mistress and that woman cook? Have you seen this ant leading all the other ants? Don't you think there was leadership in that ant too? So leadership is seen in every nook and cranny. You have to have that modesty in you. You have to have the humility in you. You should be transparent. They should know that you are a leader. There has to be a commitment in you to keep the entire force together. And on top of it, you have to be that little extra brilliant, that genius. You should have the astuteness and the skill set of a leader. In COVID time, there were a huge number of leaders which you read about in the papers, like 2 engineers taking it upon themselves in south of India to take care of all the old age homes and meet their needs. There were some younger guys who would actually provide free food for the laborers when they were going through dire times. And I think rising up to a challenge in the most difficult times is leadership in itself. Again, as I had said earlier, it's not about false promises or collecting crowds. It's about having that fire in your belly, that true leadership quality. And you won't believe there will be a troubleshooting moment which will come and which will push you indirectly that if you come forward, there could be something you do. And if you let go of that moment, you have actually let go of that leadership moment. Leadership has been defined in different ways as transformational leadership and transactional leadership. When you talk of transformation leadership, it's all about idealism and character building and putting the groups together, individualized considerations, and those kind of very virtuous qualities, whereas transactional is like exchange between a leader and a follower. I pay you money, give you awards, I allow you to grow based on how you have performed. So those kind of individual performance based. So then, when you talk of transactional, the performance is being rewarded, it's productive, there's an order and a structure. But then, in that transactional thing, I wonder whether there was a loss of creativity, whether they were getting punished if they didn't perform well, were they somehow not able to motivate the entire group. And that is where these women were largely identified with the transformational leadership because they had those kind of idealistic thoughts and it became a breeding ground for more leaders to evolve. Leadership has many ways. Like you could be actually leadership from behind, because you need to understand the people in front of you are themselves very energetic, ambitious partners who actually think they are leaders in the making. So sometimes it's better to be a leadership from behind when it is called as a shepherd leadership, wherein the smarter ones in the flock will move forward, but you are directing them from behind and never losing control. So its leadership is not about a big tag. You may occupy a bigger place, but it is sort of an understated thing that you're leading from the back and yet you are in the fore. But then you are leading from the back, you don't relinquish your control. You have to teach them. You have to allow them to recognize their own forte. You have to be firm, but you have to generate a sense of belonging in your team. And how will you be unique amongst them as a leader? Because you have to have that out-of-box perception. You have to be a robust leader, and you have to always keep your image versatile. In other words, it's about planning and understanding that there's something is going to happen which may not exist there, and allowing all of these friends along with you to become great managers. So in other words, it's all about these virtuosities which time is not going to allow me to tell you about each of it. But then a lot of things happened in the last 2 years or before in the pandemic, because there was gradually the centralization of work going to portable, cheaper ways, like a home place and workplace slowly dissolved. You know, you realize that you could work for home, you could realize that women were versatile, you realize that why waste money on office space and rentals, you're saving for the company. So, you know, there was an advantage, but there was a double load for the woman involved, because they had to take care of the children, the family, they may not have a supportive husband. But the company saw that the men and women were working together, there were different thoughts which were coming up, it was breaking boundaries, and sort of it became a broader reach for women also to come. Of course, we know about history, and we know that women were never given priority positions. Why go into those negatives? But gradually they did evolve, but constantly it was said that woman is not dependable. She is going to be plagued with new challenges. She might take leave any time, whereas the man in question was sort of unfettered and unhindered and kept moving on. But then lot of things happened, lot of movement leaders evolved, and you know, all the companies realized when a woman and a man were working, there was a diversity of thoughts, beliefs, and understanding. So sort of lot of new things, newer ideas, newer things evolved, and they became actually a stronger platform. While all this was happening, there were women mentors who were evolving, who were trying to make the other younger women get together and have a common base of thinking. But then some of the women leaders thought that if they get connected to these general women, they have worked hard to be a leader and they cannot be brought down. So sometimes they would just pretend to help them and not help them at all. Having said that, we have moved forward. We have childcare, we have creches, we have flexi times, we have remote working, and largely women understood and grasped that movement and moved forward. But there are moments to ponder. This was a Harvard School report which found that the female partners there was an increased hiring, there was an increased overall returns for a company, there were profits which were coming up. But there was also this thing called glass cliff, which you need to know when you talk of leadership. Whenever there's a crisis moment, or suppose the company is going to break and collapse, a woman leader is called forward. Is it that she's called in the last minute, or is it that she can handle a crisis, is what you need to judge from that. Again, there were global databases which were studied, which showed that women leaders were actually very much in the forefront and outscored men in many ways. So what did you see? You saw a history of struggle, a gender bias, pay gaps, you found social discrimination, social harassment, but then the woman had started going forward. Then we talk about leadership in ophthalmology and also about women. Men are there anyways. So, but what was it? Actually, there's a silver lining. The mantle of the leadership is actually being diverse and logistics are different. But there are crossroads for all these young women sitting here. There is a career pull, there's a family pull, and it was seen that the women were working a lot more hours in the day than a man of her stage was. So, but then a woman needs to know there has to be a time to pause to take care of the family, the immediate needs, build up her relatives, her in-laws, all that family as her support systems, because they are going to be her foundation to move forward. the scenario will keep changing. A sense of redundancy will come when you see that all your colleagues, the guys, have moved on. But then, you only see obstacles when you take your eyes off the goal. So what this young woman should do, she should keep on evolving smaller qualifications along the way. Take things in shorter steps, take short working hours. Maybe she has to understand that for her, against what is it to her husband, growth is going to be a continuous process, a steady climb, and her career is her personal belonging, not her family's belonging. In other words, she should have a questioning mind, a constant urge to move forward, and should understand that it is a solitary climb. Again, the salary index was seen that the men are earning more, but then you could look at so many models which are there. If your husband is doing well, join him. You could join small practices, you go into corporate practices. You could do anything which suits you, and you could use that practice and grow and become the kind of leader. So anything can happen as you move on, as long as you realize that you can make it a level playing field. So then, constantly build an army around you. In your social field, become a person to be reckoned. See that you get invited for programs. Don't have to be devious about it. Just be there, be friendly, be approachable. Always ensure that there is some kind of growth, even in a moment when you have to be back for your family, because you have to constantly look at as a career as a big battle and a victory which has to happen. You have to differentiate yourself wherever, even do not allow negativism to come into you at any point of time. You have to be a very strong person. You have to strengthen your stride and believe that any horizon is a reachable horizon, and gradually you would keep evolving. So all of this I had already said. So then, what happens is, as you move on, there is a sense of ownership which you have in what you have achieved. And then you need to look at all the other points, how you could diversify. I started to talk about leadership to the fore. I talked to you about transformation, transactional leadership, about shepherd leadership, and then suddenly I moved on to women in leadership. Because 70% or 80% of the ophthalmologists are women. So I thought, let's concentrate on this woman. A woman is foolish to pretend she's equal to men. I tell you, a woman is far superior and has always been. It is said that if you want something said, you ask a man. But if you want something done, please ask a woman. So this woman, which you see here, all of you around, is a woman to be watched. Don't challenge her. She has made newer families her own. She has risen up slowly. She has cherished movements. She has taken diverse paths. She's a man in a man's world, a woman in a woman's world. And I think it's up to you, women, each of you, as to what you want to make yourself. I'm concluding. If you educate a man, you have educated an individual. But when you educate a woman, you educate a family. And I think what matters is how each of you see yourself. So leadership is possible at all levels, men and women. I'm as much with the men as I am with the women. I think each of us have to dream our own dream, the right quotient of work, and probably if you are lucky and you have the right amount of forgiveness, why the woman, the men, the world is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chitra, for a wonderful, no argument, we surrender. And that is true. And even